This end smells way worse than this end. Go figure. It's important to start with a sharp knife. If you don't have a sharp knife, you're not going to get very far very fast. I'd say that's sharp enough. Shave with it. So we rinsed down the Gator. Got all the nasty slime and, well, not slime, but mud and stuff off of it. I have this for my skinning knife. I have this here. I find a hook blade works really well on this right here. Cutting this and outlining this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come along here. I like to cut along the top here, and then I'll come along the side here. But I'm gonna start this with this knife because it's a lot easier. So do that. You can see, you can feel where the bone is on the jaw. Just kind of follow that around. That'll get your best skin. On this one, I'm gonna do a belly hide. So I'm gonna start it. I'll probably just start it right here. Get the most out of it, because I want to use it for leather. I'm gonna do a bark tan on it. So this right here. And then you can, oh, if you get a little too close to that bone. There we go. Go up around that. And follow that around. Sometimes it's good to start back here. Just start a little bit and go forward with it. See, that's not riding like it should. There we go. You can usually ride that the back right there. Those are bones underneath there. And take it and run it. And follow this line right here down around it. Sometimes you got to put a little pressure right here, kind of like a zipper. If you put pressure in different ways, it will help relieve it binding right here. That. There. And because I'm making this leather, I'm not going to use this for anything. I want to make something out of it. So I'm just going to cut this right off. Right down the middle here. So do that to the other side, then we'll pull this top plate off. So I'm going to try to pull this top back to here, and I'll start peeling the tail back, and then I want to get that tail meat out of there as soon as possible. That's the best part. And it's pretty warm, so I want to get that on ice as soon as possible. I like this kind of knife because it's got a nice curve to it. You don't want a real, like, point, straight out knife. It's hard to get that in there. You want a nice curve, and then it's less likely to scrape the hide, cut the hide where you don't want to cut it. So. So I'll work it from this side, and then I'll work it from the other side as well. Oh, see? Small strokes are better sometimes. The backbone right here attaches right to that back plate, so it's hard to get your knife in there, but it's not impossible. You just got to be careful, especially if you want to save this for anything. If anybody watching this is interested in how to tan your own gator hides, I have a all natural bark tanning video that I'll put a link in the description. Check that out. I'll be updating that video too. That's one of the first videos I did, and now I want to make it a little better. But check it out. Leave some comments in the comment box if you want, and don't be afraid to subscribe. You can use the subscriptions. So now that I have that peeled back to this point, grab this right here, close to the edge here, so I can get in here and start skinning this right here. Keep tension on it with your thumb. Don't cut yourself, obviously, but keep tension on it with your thumb and work in. There's a lot of tendons that are connected to the skin, so you gotta cut those tendons, but don't cut the hide. So if you have to, leave a little meat if you're trying to save the hide. I try to get as much out of it meat wise, but sometimes you have to leave a little if you want to use the hide for anything. Oh, right here too, you can see this is like a lateral line almost. That skin goes in deeper there, so it's like you have to skin it here and then work your blade back in a little bit and then back down this way. Alligators are probably one of the most difficult things to skin without damaging the hide. It's pretty tedious work. Finding that balance between taking too much meat and damaging the hide and then leaving too much meat on the hide, because you gotta have to clean it off anyways if you're gonna tan it. So you got to find the balance. Like anything, there's balance. So I'm reaching that lateral line right there. It's a little more difficult. It's kind of like filleting a fish and skinning a deer, but not at all like either. It's the it is what it is. its own thing. Certain principles from other skinning works, but not everything. Any little nick that you put in it will show up in your skin after you tan it. So just remember that. Back towards the bottom part of the back part of the tail here. Towards the back part of the tail here, you don't get much meat off of it anyways, and then by the bone it's like fat. You'll see when I cut into it later, a lot of fat, so you don't get a whole lot off this back part of the tail. So I wouldn't worry about too much about the meat. I'd worry more about the hide at this point. I can give that a little twist and loosen it up a little bit. They'll want to flop one way or the other just from being setting in the cool on the ice overnight. Sometimes more of like a pushing the knife is better than a slice. You can cut through the flesh better than the hide usually. If you do a slice, sometimes it goes right through that though, into the skin. So sometimes I'll add a little like in and then like sideways motion to it. Kind of like a, not really tearing it, but using the blade to scrape / tear that skin off there rather than cutting, like a slicing action. All right, so we're starting to separate this. You can kind of get to the end here. You can just pull it a little bit and that'll help pop it loose, but like I said, just take a little bit of that meat with it on the hide and you'll be better off at this point. Small cuts usually work out a little better. Then you get to the tip here. You want to get that bone out of that tail because that will rot, cause the hide to rot, and it'll be a hard spot in the leather if it doesn't rot. So try to get as much of that bone out of there as you can. It's a little hard sometimes. All right, that's out of there. Wish I could have saved a little bit of that meat, but chickens have to eat too, right? There you go. They love when it's time to clean gators or any kind of thing. They love it. Anyways, give them some more snacks later. Come around the bottom side here. You can see all these are tendons from the muscle to the skin. I like this part of the leather more than I do this side for what I'm going to use it for. So I'm going to take, when I skin this leg out, I'm going to cut it here and then wrap it around the bottom here. Then I'll have all of that to use for a knife sheath or whatever. wristband. I don't know, something cool. Now that it's this point, I'm gonna take these, start cutting this back here, right along here, right along that lateral line, and right along the backbone here. Pull that piece off there. Just like that. Follow that backbone right up there. Come around the other side here. Like I said, you don't get much off the tail part here. You can see the tip. Do that. So you hit that vertebrae right here, and then you can take, kind of pull it out and tilt your knife just slightly. Hit that there. Work your way around the bones here. I'll come up to this hip, cut that, work along the top of that hip, right here, cut in. This here, you can grab that, keep pulling out on it a little bit, and then you'll find that lateral line. It's pretty hard to miss once you get it. Just like that. Pull out. You can run your knife right along here, like that. There you go. There's the back part of the gator. This here is gator fat. It is the nastiest thing you'll ever eat. I shouldn't say that. There could be probably something more nasty than that. But you want to trim that off. Anything that looks like that white right there, or more white, creamy looking, that's all fat, and you want to get rid of it. But for now, into some ice. Do the same thing to the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and get this a little more relieved here. Make some relief cuts. This side. And I'm gonna flip it over. Grab the legs. Flip that over like that. Now I want to get, I'm gonna slice that up through here and then up there. So start it with like that, and then you can take this, slice it right up to the fingertip if you want. Same on this side, right here. And I want that part, so I'm gonna come here, try to leave it as straight as possible so I can easily use it for a project. And all that's split open. Rinse some of this blood away. Alright, got it skinned back to just in front of where this joint is for the legs. Makes it easier to get this jelly roll out of here. Want to see something kind of crazy? Watch this. I cut through this muscle right here and exposed the jelly roll underneath. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I move that leg. Kind of crazy just to see the anatomy of an animal, how it moves inside. You can see that it's got a little groove here that muscle slides in and out when that leg moves. For science. All right, so cut into this right here. The jelly roll. There's the leg here. Cut in here. Sorry, my camera keeps bouncing around. Cut in here. That jelly roll goes clear up into there. Cut that. That tenon's right here for that jelly roll. So you cut that. See that thing release? There you go. Cut in there. Here's the one hole that rules them all. That's right there. So cut in around that. Try to avoid it. I rinsed it off already, but cut that section out. And you start to see where the muscles start to separate. Same thing like before. Follow that backbone down from there, down the center. You'll see that line. Just gonna follow that. I like to slice through that first layer there, exposing those jelly rolls. See, there's a backbone right there. See what you're cutting. Kind of come along here if you want. Actually, I'm gonna grab it here. Sorry, it's hard to film and do this. If it's bouncing, I'm sorry. That blood away. Jelly roll right here. Just take that. This is the premium right here. Take that, peel that out. That is the inner loin, the jelly roll of the gator. Here you have fat, so I like to cut it in sections and take a fillet knife and fillet that part off. For the sake of time, I went and cut this back leg off. I'm gonna show you, start cutting this top part off. And you take your knife and just kind of up on an angle, work up. Your blade should follow that pretty well. Just kind of like you're filleting a fish between the skin and the meat. It's getting hard to cut. It's because you're cutting into the skin. If it's easy, you're probably just cutting through the flesh. That side's pretty much through. Little bloodshot there. When I get around that area, I like to rinse again. Same thing here. Slightly roll it. Get under here. A lot of this is by feel on the back side here. You can't really see what you're doing, even if you roll it over. It's just hard to get in there and see. You kind of just gotta go, let your blade kind of go where it wants to go. Don't force it. When you start forcing it, that's when you go through the hide. Harpooned it there. It was caught in the weeds and really hard to get to, so I'm gonna blind stabbing it through the weeds. After we so this right here, this is where the backbone is attached, like I said earlier. Just kind of sometimes you can just pull on it, and if you cut it as you're pulling on it, it comes right off of there. I'm gonna lay this here and let the chickens pick at it. This is why I rinse it down a lot too, because the more that blood's around, I think it attracts more flies faster. Same deal here. Just run along the backbone there, along the top of the hip. The ribs come up pretty close to the flesh right there, so you can kind of cut that right atop the ribs. So I just cut the back of the neck out. Then I'm gonna take this, cut out that bloodshot. There's probably bone fragments in there from where the bang stick went off. Here you go. Oh yeah, they're happy. All right, I went ahead and took off these other two legs and some meat off the ribs here. I have taken the ribs and they're good, and I've taken the ribs and they don't taste very good. So I like to just peel the outside layer off the ribs, and I get a better result. So that's just personal preference. People eat ribs though. So I'm gonna go ahead and skin this leg out. Kind of have to work up along the side of the belly as you're doing that, just to relieve some pressure on the leg tissue. Work the side here. Oh, see? I nicked it. These little armpits and joint areas are the most pain in the butt spot to try to skin. This isn't the easiest way to skin the legs, but that's how I'm doing it because it's easier to start either on the top of the leg. It'll be better for how this is done, but I want to save this hide, so I'm went down and around. Would have been easier to go this way. So I'm having a hard time peeling it, but it'll be a better product, hopefully, when I'm done. I like to go all the way down here because I want the most workable leather as possible. A lot of guys will just cut them off, the hide right off right there, but I'll go out right here. This part is a lot easier if you have somebody to help you, because you can have them pick up on the leg while you pull the hide certain ways, like that. That would be easier with two people, but I don't have two people, so I'm going to do it with one person. The best that I can do. That's pretty much all I can get. So doing this back a little bit. Nothing wrong with rolling it around a few times. I'm gonna go ahead, see this joint here? It's cut in. There. See that pop apart. Oh, before I do that, I'll take this off. Right here. Not a whole lot of meat on this part of it. A little bit. You can pick it off, throw it on the grill, but it's really not a whole lot. We'll start trimming this off the front here. Outline his jaw. Back side of the arm. So when I come right through here, right here, down the middle. There we go. So here's a question. What do you think's environmentally better? Someone to make a fake leather out of synthetics, or make some leather out of an actual animal. You can eat the animal, you can balance the ecosystem out a little more so that these guys aren't eating people's pets, dogs, the occasional human. And then you can make leather out of their skin. I don't know. I think that's more environmentally friendly than plastics that just don't break down and get thrown into the environment and then kill life anyways. Just a thought. Let me know what you think, if you got an opinion. If you don't, cool. People don't have to have opinions. This is always a weird part for me. I don't know how this thing is attached. It's like a collarbone kind of a deal. And I don't understand it. It bothers me. I think it goes into here somewhere. There we go. Cartilage. Oh, I should have took the paws off first. Oh well. Last step to this process, the cleaning process. If you're interested in tanning, like I said earlier, I'll be posting some videos about that. But right here, try to get as much of that meat off of that hide as possible. Right now. You want to avoid the mouth as much as possible on these. They eat nasty stuff. So if you can imagine death, how that smells, that's pretty much what the mouth of a gator smells like. This end smells way worse than this end. Go figure. Would you rather? Anyways, this right here makes some of the best wallet kind of materials. So try to get that if you can. It's very thin though, so you have to be very, very careful not to nick it. Alright, so that's the hide. There's not a whole lot of meat right here. A little bit of flank meat. But I don't like to get too close to the guts on these, being they do eat nasty stuff. So just trim off some pieces. I'll either make jerky out of it or I'll make it into like a gator sausage. Turns out pretty good.